Stripe Show podcast on a Tuesday. I'm your host, Travis Fulton. Thank you for tuning in. Big week ahead. BMW Championship second leg of the FedEx playoffs. The FedEx playoffs. Yeah, playoffs. Week 2. Heading up to Chicago. Our man, Keith Stewart, he is live coming to us from Olympia Fields. Good morning, good afternoon, whatever it is to you, sir. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic, and this is some special place. Let me tell you something. The tower stands tall, and that flag was waving this morning when I walked in, and I knew this was going to be a major venue. And man, oh man, golf course looks prime.
Yeah,
for some carnage.
Okay, so you're thinking major championship type of venue this week. I mean, we were there back in 2020, and John Rahm won. He only shot 4 under. Him and DJ, of course, were at the 4 under mark. And keep in mind, then it went to Caves Valley, right? In 2021, that's where Cantlay won. And then Wilmington last year, Cantlay won again. And now we're back to Olympia Fields. Everybody's trying to, kind of do the math here and remember what was that course like? Who's it going to favor, this and that? And you're telling us out of the gate here, you're just dropping the bomb saying this is a major championship golf course this week.
Well, I'm going to say it's going to be more like a 2023 major championship golf course than what you think of. You know, when we went back to the U.S. Open show, you were like, man, I want to see this be harder, right? Yeah. And it wasn't. I think it's going to fall more in that range of like that, 7 to 10 under type of 8 to 11 under par type contest where it's going to be tough. You're going to have to scramble, but it was really baked out in 2020. I mean, it was like beyond baked out. And right now the golf course is just like right where they want it. It's perfect. It will dry out over time, but they had to water that golf course on the weekend so the guys could hold greens. And we're not there. They've gotten some rain out here. And I just think the golf course just looks absolutely awesome. And, I'm not going to do any drop the ball in the rough type videos, but if the social media freaks are out here, they'd be dropping balls everywhere. It's thick and it's set up nice, man. I'm psyched for this week. Top 50 are here and a lot to play for. You get to the top 30, you play in all the majors next year. So
That's right. We're going to eliminate 20 guys after this week. So a lot to play for. Top 50 will go down to top 30. Everybody's playing for second place, apparently, because Lucas Glover is just going to go ahead and run the table, it sounds like. And we were talking about it last week, and you asked me the question, I think, and I was like, yeah, I mean, I don't know how you can not be on him. I mean, I think it's okay to continue to be on Lucas Glover at this point. I mean, the guy is basically, it's a brand new chapter in his life with his putting and what's going on there. And it's refreshing. And it's all of a sudden he's like, yeah, it's time to make up for lost time. I'm one of the best ball strikers in the world. I'm putting with more confidence than anybody right now, including Scotty Scheffler. Bring it, Scotty. And so, yeah, I think you had to kind of continue to stay on him last week. Why not? Just go ahead and make it the trifecta this week, don't you think?
Well, it's, like all the Ryder Cup talk. Let's not get ahead of ourselves here.
Yeah.
All right. Let's not anoint him. The guy didn't play in one major all year. So I know it's a nice stretch and it's a great time to show up, $3.6 million last week. The guy can buy some talc then because he's probably going to need it. But, man, it was hot in Memphis, wasn't it? But overall, I mean, he's doing the things you need to do on these golf courses.
Mm-hmm.
I beat a dead horse last week with the par 70 scoring, and it's going to happen again this week. You look at this golf course. When we were here in 2020, the 2 easiest holes were holes number 1 and 2. Now, number 1's like a 630-yard par 5, and 2 is this nice little dogleg par 4. But after that, the next 16 holes, buckle up, because it's like, I mean, this place, I was walking it this morning, and I'm just like, man, oh, man. Now, I've got some ideas of who it fits, and it really fits certain people. And these guys that I'm thinking of are performing well right now. But overall, you've got to be able to drive the golf ball here off the tee. And I think if you're a Jordan Spieth type guy with a short game, you can get, because the greens they're a good size here, like 5,200 square feet. So, if you miss a green or something, you've got some room to, if you don't short side yourself, to get up and down. The putting, in 2020, guys were pretty much, able to get the ball around the hole. It wasn't a huge 3-putt golf course. So I feel like if you get the ball in play and with some power, obviously that favors the big guys at the top. But
Yep.
I think that's a huge concern. And much like last week, and I wrote about this a bunch and read the line, this is a faders golf course. Right. So I'm walking out there and I go hole after hole. And I'm like, oh, man, if I faded the ball, I would love this hole. Oh, I would love this hole. Oh, man, this just suits my eye. You could just see yourself just keep peeling the ball left to right, left to right. Now go back to who were the guys in the playoff in 2020? DJ.
Rom and DJ. Yeah.
Yeah. The only time DJ hits it right to left is if he hits a tree. And it caroms that way, and Rom's the same way. In fact, Rom was in the press room earlier. Here's a hot take for you.
Okay.
Rom was in the press room earlier, and he said that weekend, he started out, he was struggling. Remember, he shot like 75 in the first round. He shot 1 over in the second round, and then he went and won that weekend. He shot like 10 under on the weekend or whatever it was. And he said over the weekend, he didn't play one draw. Wow. Not one. The whole time. He said, the draw wasn't working. I gave up on it. And he goes, I'll just give you a little insight. He goes, I played a fade with every approach shot and every tee shot for the rest of the, over the weekend. He said it was one of my greatest 36-hole stretches of golf ever on a very difficult golf course. So, yeah. That being said, now a lot of the great players right now are the elite players in that top part of the conversation. They all tend to fade the ball off the tee, but man, that to me is very telling. And just walking the golf course, one shot after another. Even if you're tucking left pins on approach, you're still not going to go over there. And, these guys, man.
Yeah, that's good insight. That's good insight. Left to right off the tee. Certainly when they were here in 2020, you can see those guys, to your point, Rom and DJ right there at -4. Now, you're right outside of Chicago. I couldn't figure out how to make this work when I was plugging this in. But look at, can you hear that? You hear that?
Oh, yeah.
I want to get you fired up before we make some picks. I'm taking you to a Chicago band right now. Who is this?
Oh, come on. Smashing Pumpkins.
They're touring right now. They were just up in my neck of the woods, the Pacific Northwest.
Really?
Yeah.
Didn't they lose somebody along the way? Heroin or something?
I can't confirm that, but
okay.
Here we go.
All right, you ready then?
We're ready.
All right. I'm fired up then.
Whoa! I got disarm on. Hear it?
Oh, there you go.
All right, here we go. Yeah.
First click.
All right.
First click.
Let's get after it. Here we go. BMW. Yep.
I'm gonna hit you with something hot. Okay. A couple weeks ago when you went after Alex Smalley, right? All right. You were like, wait, I'm going middle of the board. I'm going to mix it up. I'm mixing up on you. First click this week.
Okay.
Now that I've seen the golf course, now that I've studied the lay of the land, everything involved, talk me out of Max Homa. Okay. Just talk me out of it.
All right. Well,
left to right fader.
Yep.
All right.
I mean, it's funny. I write down questions for you. And as I look down the board, by that name, do you like Max Homa here? And that was one of 3 out of 50 that was genuinely interested. I'm always interested in every person, but I try to I try to get inside your mind. And right there by Homa, do you like him here? He was 10th at the Open Championship. He was 6th at St. Jude. He likes to work it left to right. He's sneaky long off the tee. All right. It's not a major championship. I'll go with you. So he, very well could have a chance to finish up there and be on the first page. All right, so let's get into this. Top of the board. Well, there's Rory, and we know he doesn't like to work it left to right. So you're telling me Rory has no chance to win here. But yet, when I look at Rory and I take a little deeper dive at Rory right now, I mean, he's always, it seems like, playing great golf. But last 8 tournaments, I mean, he hasn't finished outside the top 10. His putter, I don't think he's getting enough credit for his putter as of late. We see Rory miss some little ones or this or that, and it's Rory can't putt. Hold on. I mean, he's not putting that bad. His driver is elite right now. His irons looking great. It's just situational with Rory. It's a little bit of here. It's a little bit of there. We kick one down the road. We lose one here. But you're telling me Rory has no chance working it right to left?
Well, what he's doing with the driver right now, he can win anywhere.
Yeah.
But my problem with Rory is the closer he gets to the hole, the further he gets away from winning. And it's a similar problem with Scheffler. I mean, why those two guys don't go see Lucas Glover and his putter maker, I don't know.
Well,
at
Lucas
this point
should be giving them a putting lesson right now on the putting green. That's obvious.
Yeah.
I mean, how about that? Lucas Glover's the putting machine right now. Doesn't even sound right. But Scheffler's too. Real quick, let's bring Scheffler into the conversation because he's you got Rory at 700 and Scheffler at 750. Okay. I've been, I was talking with some people on site last week that are close to the situation with Scotty Scheffler. Okay. And I think the reality of the situation right now with Scheffler is he is too stubborn to have someone else look at his putting. I can see with my own eyes, and so can others on site, that the ball's coming out of the heel of the putter. Okay. There's something not right. This has been going on way too long. You look at this field, of course, the last 24 rounds coming in, there's 50 guys here. Where do you think Scheffler ranks in putting out of those 50? He's 48th. It's hard to believe there's two others that are worse than him, and that's Tom Kim and Tony Finau. Yikes. But those two are not the best in the world by a landslide. Wait for it.
Man, I tell you.
Great rendition from Smashing Pumpkins. But anyway, they're not even close to Scotty, tee to green. It's just Scotty needs another set of eyes on the team right now. He does. He needs help with his putting. And I'm not saying he has to make wholesale changes or this and that, but something has to at least look, feel, sound different than what he's been doing. This is insanity at this point. And I just, I have all the respect in the world for Teddy Scott, his caddy, all the respect in the world for Randy Smith, his longtime coach. But there's got to be someone else in there that's saying, look, here's kind of what's happening. Here's what I think. And Scotty's got to have some open ears because it's hard to have this kind of critique on someone who is so great, tee to green, right? But it's like, I don't know, man. If this guy could putt at all, he would be blowing the field away. Every single week, he's that good, but his putting is equally that bad. So anyway, that's my intervention. It's time for someone to look at it. Maybe it doesn't happen right now. Maybe it's post-Ryder Cup. I don't know, but there's got to be another set of eyes. Anyway, I'm not betting Scheffler. And I was kind of leaning maybe Rory at the top of the board, but now you got me thinking right to left to right. I don't know, but I think he's putting better than what people are giving him credit for.
Here's the thing. When Rahm won here in 2020, he gained just under 4 strokes with the putter. Mm-hmm. Right? So that was something that separated him over the course of 72 holes.
Right.
If you look at the top 5, the top 10 guys from that one edition, okay, that one moment in time, they gained over the top 10 on average gained over 2.5 strokes with the putter. Do you live in a world currently where you see either of those two guys gaining 2.5 strokes with the putter?
Yeah, it's true. It's a good point.
Right.
Yep.
Now, I get these are averages and you can bend statistics any way you want. But at the end of the day, if we're supposed to pick the winners, I don't know how those guys get from negative, let alone to positive, that you're going to get me over 2 strokes with the putter.
Yep.
Because this, as we started out, this is a major championship venue. This is a U.S. Open venue. You have to do everything good. This is like a Xander golf course, right? Where you got to,
All right, stop with the Xander. That's where I'm drawing the line.
He's good in U.S. Opens because he's good at everything. He's not just over the top great.
How many U.S. Opens has Xander won? I know he's a top 10 machine. I get it, right? But Xander, he doesn't have that dog in him to.
It's a reference point.
Okay.
Right.
Got it.
Okay.
Sorry.
We could say it for, a guy like Brooks. I mean, long off the tee, in the fairway. You can pitch the ball, putt the ball, chip the ball. The thing that's like the last thing I'll say about Scotty is that guy has incredible touch around the greens, and from 8 feet he can't hit the hole. It just blows my mind.
I know.
It's an amazing
crazy.
game. It's an amazing
Rory,
game.
for a reference point, positive 2.5 strokes gained putting this calendar year. Rory's done it once. No, I'm sorry, he's done it twice. This calendar year. Now, at the Tour Championship where he won, he was positive 6.6 a year ago. But he is putting better, folks. I mean, there is a lot of positive, I think, with his putting. Now, can he get it to 2.5, 3? I think is a valid point that you make. Scotty seems more unlikely. And I think as I talk myself through this, I'm not going to bet either one of them. So let's continue to go down the board. John Rahm, who did win here the last time we saw this, he's at what is he at? He's at 1,000, right? He's at 10 to 1.
He's at 10 to 1.
Yep. And then there's Cantlay. He's at 10 to 1. And there's Hovland, 16, Schauffele, 18. Let's stop there. Let's talk about those four. All right. I'll start with Rahm, and then I'll give you the floor with these four.
All right.
So Rahm, not the same player, clearly, coming in this year as he was last. The driver concerns me a little with Rahm this week. Driver concerns me. I just doesn't feel like it's all he's fighting it a little bit right now. That's my only concern. Now, the other aspect of this, and then I'll give you the floor. The other aspect of this is it's easy to look at last week like a Rahm who didn't look great, and like a Fowler who didn't look great. That was a huge layoff from the Open Championship. We hadn't seen those guys. And so I think it's valid to say there was some rust there for a lot of these guys. And so now they got that one behind their belt a little bit. They knew they were going to be here. They wouldn't lose too much position. And so are we willing to kind of, kick past that with Rahm and say, no, he's the guy. Let's put our money on him. The driver kind of looms in my head a little.
If I got to pick somebody at 10 to 1, I'm taking Patrick Cantlay.
Okay.
And I mean, flat out, when we went into the PGA, we couldn't stop talking about him being the number one driver on the PGA Tour. He was leading strokes gained off the tee. Oak Hill, Memorial, those types of golf courses are going to be great comp courses for this week.
Yep.
So there's two names in that group you just mentioned that, really it's going to be one of these situations where I'm going to go back and forth and, I don't know, try to figure out a way to put both on my card. But Hovland, what Hovland did after the first round,
I know,
with his little intervention there with Joe Mayo after the first round, and if he doesn't make double bogey on, I know what I'm saying, folks.
Yeah.
Right? I don't need the court reporter to read it back to me. But if he doesn't make that double bogey, and he's only a couple back from Lucas going into Sunday, right? I mean, Hovland he was really good ball striking wise. And this is a ball striker's golf course. Okay. Look at the guys that were here last time. Look at the top 10 guys, right? Who are we talking about? We're talking about Rahm and DJ, right? Let's go back, for everybody. Then you have Hideki.
Yep.
Right. Then you had
was up there.
Finau, Fitzpatrick, Brendan Todd, Patrick Cantlay, Ben On, Brian Harmon, Rory. Right. I mean, this is an elite ball strikers type golf course, even more so than last week because, I think you have to be a little bit more well-rounded than you did last week. And, Patrick Cantlay looks as well-rounded as anybody right now. And if there's one event he's comfortable with, no matter where it is, it's the BMW. So it's highly likely to me, if we're going to get 3 in a row, it's going to be Patrick winning 3 BMWs in a row and not Lucas Glover winning 3 times in a row. Yeah,
I agree. Yeah, I'm comfortable starting my card at Patrick Cantlay. The driver is a absolute weapon. He put together just a outstanding round on Sunday. Probably a little bitter taste there in the playoff, driving it in the water. Hovland just had that tough first round. His driver, he kind of fought his driver a little bit, I think, in general. But I'm willing to, I think, to kind of look past that with Hovland again. Last time we saw Hovland before last week was the Open. Keep in mind, folks, was back in July of July 23rd.
Yeah.
And so that's a month. And so now he comes out at St. Jude. He finishes 13th, really comes roaring back after that bad first round. Yeah, so I'm comfortable this week starting my card at Cantley and Hovland this week. I think that's kind of where I'm at. Xander, of course, has the complete game. I don't think anybody's going to be surprised to see Xander up there. Question is, can he win?
Driver was bad last week.
Yeah,
the driver was bad.
He's fighting it. He's fighting the driver too a little bit. There's no question about it, and that's where I think you definitely got to give the nod to Cantlay and Hovland over Xander. I think at that point, and of course you get down to Fleetwood. He's next, and you're gonna bet Fleetwood to win at 22-1. That's where we're at with Tommy Fleetwood. You're kidding me? The guy can't close. He can't close.
I just can't do it. It could be any number. You could put him 100-1, and it just I feel bad for the guy, and nothing would make me happy. Nothing would make me happier if he just plays the same way at the Ryder Cup, doesn't close.
Oh, you'll know him. No, whoa. He'll be an absolute machine at the Ryder Cup. I mean that's given. He'll make everything, and just be he'll shoot 65, just whatever. And be an absolute thorn in the side. Remember Fleetwood and remember Mollywood, those two?
Oh,
they made everything. Everything.
Disgusting. Disgusting.
Yeah, okay. I feel bad for him too, because everybody's pulling for him. Everybody in the United States is pulling for Fleetwood to win one of these things, and he clearly tightens up. It's nerves. He doesn't, whatever you want to call it.
It's hard to win.
I don't think it's choking. I think it is hard to win. We get that, but it's different. It's different when you become a different person when the moment hits. Like, it's time to win today. Can you be the same person? And Tommy can't. He can't be that same person that day than he's been up to that point. I think he gets a little soft with his putting. I don't know. That's the most apparent thing to me. And pretty soon, he's even through 11 on Sunday, and all of a sudden he's 3 or 4 back, and then he clips a couple, and then I might win, and then and then he kind of, so it's just, he's just not comfortable in that situation. He's not the same person on a Sunday late, and particularly when he is Thursday, Friday, Saturday. That's that.
I'll give you a little story from my history that you could share with your elite tournament students that you work with, Travis. I was on the range at Isleworth, and this is summer of 2000, and the man's doing his work, right? So I have a conversation with Tiger, and I'm talking about, man, how is it that you you seem like the only guy that doesn't get nervous out there? And he looked me in the eye and he said one thing to me. He said, Keith, all pressure is self-induced. Right? There's nobody else. It's all in your own head. And he had figured out a way to tame that beast, at least through periods of his career, better than anybody, right? And at the end of the day, Tommy needs to figure that out for himself. There are other people at the top of the mountain that figured that out. Now, was it because Scotty won like 9 out of every 10 junior events that he participated in? Like he learned that at an early age? I don't know. But like for everybody, it's probably a little bit different, but all pressure is self-induced. And the amount of pressure he's putting on himself to break through and make this win happen it's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot. Because you can physically see it, which is kind of crazy.
Oh, you can. Yeah, you can.
Body
you
language.
Can see it. Mm-hmm. There's no question. It is. And he just can't get out of his own way. And everybody's pulling for him. And it takes a different kind of person to be comfortable in that. It's like, when there's an emergency and the fire is that way, and these first responders are running towards danger, and that makes them special, and that makes them heroes. They're running into danger where 99% of the people are running the other way to get out of danger. And yet these people are wired to go save lives and make it happen. Like that's a special person. It's the same thing. I think in winning a golf tournament, but not exactly like that. But the point is that when you go to win a golf tournament and that moment hits and that day has arrived, a lot of people like Max Homa, who we're going to talk about next, I think embrace it and run to it. They want it. Put it on me. Embrace it, where others shy away like Tommy, and they don't want to make the mistake, and they almost kind of want to maybe let it fall to them and hope that it happens, where Max is going to run to it. The man Tiger is running to it and saying, no, I'm going to make it happen, and I'm going to win and put you away. It's a special kind of person that runs towards that responsibility in that moment in time to win. And there's just not a lot of them that have that, dog in them. But when you see it, and Max has a little bit of it. Max just doesn't have Max has obviously a high skill set, but let's just say Max had like Xander's skill set, who I would say Xander's even like a little further beyond Max, from just more complete. Yeah. So what if Xander had Max as that little dog in him on Sunday? I'm gonna put you away. He's got it when he gets in. I think that's a really good point. I wasn't gonna bet Max, but I think as we get down here to 25-1 and Morikawa at 28 and Terrell Hatton at 28,
oh, come on. Come on.
Homa deserves a look.
Okay. So, I mean, we'd be fools not at some point to discuss a little Ryder Cup here, right? All right. When you start to pick those guys that are going to be on the U.S. team, outside of Jordan, who do you trust the most to get the job done, to be a closer?
Between Homa and Morikawa?
No. Outside of Jordan Spieth, of all the names that everyone's mentioning, everyone from Lucas to Scotty to everybody, right? Okay. Who do you trust? Who closes things when they get in the heat? Now, don't get me wrong. You could say,
Scotty.
No. He hasn't closed all. No.
I know, but I know his putter is ailing, but he's so freaking good tee to green.
Yeah, but he went.
Who would I trust the most right now?
Out of those 12 guys, right? 13, 14 guys, right? On that list. Okay, come on. You got Wyndham Clark, Patrick Cantley, Brian Harmon, Xander.
Are you leading me to Homa right now? Is that what you're trying to do?
Cam Young.
You're leading me to say Max Homa.
Sam Burns had every opportunity on Bermuda Burns to get the job done last week. He couldn't finish top 50 in a field of 70.
Yeah, that was disappointing. Yep.
Right? I mean, what are we doing there? Wyndham Clark was like DFL. These guys are already thinking about the end of September. Come on.
Bryson DeChambeau. Okay.
I mean, you go down the list, man. And again, these are super elite players, but where's Finau? When Finau won in Mexico, everybody had him on the team.
Yeah.
And you said it earlier, and I quote, "You guys lost." Right?
Oh, his putter is terrible.
I mean, that's the one thing we need to have happen. We can't even get JT to be in the playoffs. These guys, what are we doing? So Max goes to Torrey on a golf course that's big, long, and hard, right? It's a major championship style U.S. Open type golf course, just like this week. And he hits fairways. He plays those long par threes, long irons, little fades in there, does what he needs to do, capitalizes, closes, gets the job done. And I don't want to hear about the California thing all the time. I think Max, little top 10 at his last major, proved to himself something finally. Got, like we're talking with Tommy. I think Max got a little bit of a, knocked a little weight off his shoulders. Mm-hmm. And I really feel like when I walk this golf course and you look at the way he played last weekend and the way he played at the Open, I think that there's a guy there that when he gets in the moment, he's been to the bottom of the barrel and he worked his way back up. He was a world-class college player. He was awesome in college. And then he couldn't make ends meet as a pro. And then all of a sudden he starts winning. And look at the places that he wins. Riviera, Quail Hollow. I mean, this is a big, big monster, tough golf course. Torrey Pines. This place kind of fits him. And I would be very surprised with that closer's mentality if we don't see him as part of the storyline on Sunday.
Yeah, I trust Max Homa in that environment. He played out well the President's Cup. And obviously Xander, I trust. I think Brooks Koepka, you trust in there. And, as you start moving down now, I think Spieth, I trust. Morikawa, I think in that middle range over Cameron Young, Keegan Bradley, Sam Burns, Ricky Fowler, Justin Thomas. How can you not trust Lucas Glover right now? And I just think that I think you have to. I think the guy's has earned it at this point and is playing great golf and has the putter now. Hey, keep in mind last week, folks, he didn't exactly win that with his ball striking. He won that more of the short game and putting when you look at it statistically. So he's very well rounded at this point. All right, let's move on. Speaking of Spieth, you give him a fighter's chance here, right? If he could do enough. You know that he can get the ball up and down. When Matsuyama played here in 2020 and finished third, that was his magic. He was positive 6.1 strokes gain around the green. So Matsuyama, Spieth, can they do enough ball striking wise? Probably to be relevant this week, because we know those two can scramble with the best of them, get it up and down, save a lot of pars, hang in there. Can they do enough with the ball striking? I would think those two have a fighter's chance over a Cameron Young, right? You got to take those two over a Cameron Young.
Spieth was just bad with his irons last week. Off the tee, he was solid. And he's had one of his better iron years if you go back to where he was in April and May and in June. So I feel like that's a tweak, and he's back ready to roll. In that group, I like Spieth. I've been betting Hideki off and on for the last month and a half, and he's just right, just kind of hanging out.
Glover's 40-1.
Yeah, he was 90-1 last week, and now he's like a third of that. It's crazy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I got his coach coming on, probably tomorrow, either Wednesday or Thursday. Jason Bell, interesting.
Okay.
And a lot of people don't know about Jason, and he's going to come on and he's going to share. Look at, is that Dave Barnett?
Yeah.
Hang
on here. Let me get my camera back. There he is.
There he goes. What's up, dude?
Beautiful man. You.
Yeah, right.
DB's here.
Good to see you. Yeah.
Live drop in from Tour Picks.
Yeah, right. That's right. Great show. Tour Junkies. They do a good job. So where was I?
Tour Junkies. Pardon me. Yes. Yeah.
Where was I? Gosh, hold on a second. We need to take an intermission to get my mindset back. Hey, you know who else? You know who else was a
waiting for you to play some Kanye.
That one's not on my
I wouldn't think so.
Shoot, I don't have it on here. Veruca Salt, you remember them?
Oh yeah, Seether.
They were a Chicago band. Yeah, they got some people there. The band Chicago. That band, remember the band, all the slow music they used to play?
Oh yeah.
That music literally used to make me nauseous when I was young.
That's like me with Steely Dan. I can't take it.
Growing up in the Northwest, alternative grunge, and then I remember my sister and my mom would play Chicago. I was like, what is this? This is literally making my brain hurt. Who listens to this?
Depressed people. I don't know.
Anyway, quick question. Look at my shirt, right? So I've been thinking about this. I turned 40. I turned 46 this week, and there's moments in time where your body, you feel like you're, man, I'm getting a little bit older and this and that. And so I went out last weekend and I put a shirt on that had cocktail drinks all over it. And at that moment, I'm looking at the mirror and I'm like, oh my goodness, I am officially my dad. I'm officially my dad. I'm wearing a shirt that has drinks on it. And now I put this on today and I'm looking at myself. I'm like, damn, I look like 53. I'm going to be wearing Tommy Bahama faded shirt soon. This is, no disrespect. It's just those moments in time where you realize you're just not, you're not 30, you're not 35. You're closer to 50.
We got to pay attention to these things for you. This is a trend, strokes gained wardrobe that I'm going to keep an eye on.
Okay.
Right?
Yes, please do.
For sure.
Please do. Speaking of wardrobe, Lucas Glover swamp ass next week. I think they need to reconsider Memphis. I'm just going to say, all right, moving on. Fowler, rust last week. just rust? Or are we willing to take a little more of a peek this week? He's had a great year, played terrible last week. No? Yes?
No.
This
No.
place? Yeah.
No.
Russell Henley, yes or no?
More so than Fowler, but neither one of them is going to win.
All right.
So, although
Tom
Fowler's
Kim.
been, well, you already said he's the one guy that's worse than Scotty with the putter.
You know, that's interesting, right? Because no one ever says a thing about Tom Kim's putting. If you went up to anybody right now in that clubhouse and said, Tom Kim, I mean, he's won twice, don't get me wrong, but he's got a chance. Great. Like the dude's the worst putter in the field.
People think of him as a great putter because of that one putt at the President's Cup. I was standing there next to that green, and I was like, man, this guy's clutch.
Oh, right?
You know?
He's the worst putter in the field.
He needs the clutch replaced in that car. Let me tell you, it's not firing.
Is Sung Jae Im ready to like elevate himself to the next level? He's at 40. I mean, is Sung Jae Im going to win this thing?
No.
See, that's what I like. Tony Finau, 45-1. No chance.
I mean, it goes back to the conversation. Like, there's all these guys that are just sitting around, this Ryder Cup conversation, and they like Denny McCarthy. Like, I think I saw on Twitter, like his name was near a Ryder Cup tweet, and that guy finished last week. I mean, like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
He had his worst putting weeks ever of his career.
He lost 8.5 strokes game.
He's the number one putter on the PGA Tour. So again, go back to Denny McCarthy.
Oh, Denny, I'm talking Finau. Finau lost 8.5 last week. Sorry.
No, but McCarthy, right? The guy, he had his worst 4 putting rounds of his career.
Yeah.
And there's only one reason why. All pressure is self-induced.
Mm-hmm.
He knows he has a chance after 2 years of grinding to make that team, and it just consumed him.
Yeah.
Look at Cam Young. Look at Sam Burns. If he doesn't make hole-in-one, we don't even know the guy played that tournament.
Yeah. Those are valid points. Those are really valid points. Those are the things that are happening within the tournament that we've been talking about, is the Ryder Cup discussion, which needs to factor into your decision-making. I can't bet Sanjay. I can't bet Tony Finau. What I'm seeing with the flat stick, man, he just looks lost. You're telling me he's going to turn that around from positive 8.5 to positive 4 and win? I don't see it.
I mean, in the fives and sixes, I'm going to go Ben On or Cam Davis.
All right, let me roll out the names here. Wyndham Clark, 45. Harmon, Connors are at 50. Jason Day's 50. Ben On, 50. Fitzpatrick, Burns at 55. Rose at 60. Cam Davis, 66. Keegan Bradley, 66. So of those names, your two are?
I mean, I like On and I like Cam Davis.
Yeah.
On was good here in 2020.
Yep.
On is really good on driver-heavy golf courses where you need a little short game. Hello. Have I mentioned Olympia Fields North Course, right? And he's playing well. And then, Cam Davis is – if you start to shrink a little bit and you go down to like the last 16 rounds, you look at ball strikers, Cam Davis is right there in the top 5.
Yeah. I agree. We talked a lot about Cam Davis last week. Finished 6th at St. Jude, 7th at the Wyndham 3M Open. He was 10th. That's 3 straight top 10s, folks, for Cam Davis. His driver, no problem. Iron game, I think it's good, not great. Short game, I think, has been great. And putting has been solid. And so, but I think Cam Davis, as we start looking down the board at an elite field, and you want to find an angle to bet someone in this range of 66-1, I think I would. I know I have sprinkled some money on Cam Davis. I've come around on Cam Davis. I really have. I understanding better what happened to him at the beginning of the season, and now how that's played into the rest of the season and where he's at with his game. He's not with his former coach. And I don't know. We've been talking about him a lot. And this is not the first time that we've been saying this. I bet him last week. He didn't get it done, but he was right there. I'm going to go ahead and sprinkle some more on him at 66. I already did. I got him at a better odd already.
I mean, talent-wise, in that range, you're looking for a high ceiling, and he's got a high ceiling.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, and he kind of does it all. Like he does it all. There's no glaring weakness, right? Like he's
No.
all right.
He looks the part for sure.
He does. He does look the part. All right, let's keep going. I mean, do we give a Keegan Bradley, a Siwoo Kim, Griot, Poston? Do we give those guys a chance? Sepp Straka's at 80. Now we're into the hundreds.
Septic tank. Don't even talk. Come on. Jeez. I mean, there's another guy. They start talking about him at the Ryder Cup for Europe, Team Europe. He's a lock. He's going to be a killer. You know, he's great at the John Deere. He's going to shoot like 55. And then he goes to the Open. He's great there. And then what happened to him?
Yeah.
There's no better player on the PGA Tour on Zoysia grass, and that guy didn't do anything last week. Go look at his record on Zoysia fairways, man. The guy's unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
It's a quirky thing, but it's unbelievable. He would have loved that place last week. I'm not saying he needed to win last week, but he should have been relevant. And something was going on there.
See, this is Sepp though. Like I've said this a couple times this year. He'll be doing nothing, and then all of a sudden he wins the John Deere, and then he's second at the Open, and then he misses the cut, and it probably would have missed a cut if St. Jude would have had a cut. Played awful.
Yeah.
You know, and even you go back into earlier in his career, you would see a run of missed cuts, and then all of a sudden he's fifth at the Honda. Obviously, you go back to his win at the Honda. All right, a little bit of form up to that, not much. He's just up and down. You know, he's just volatile. He's just up and down. But yeah, you can't. I'm not betting Sepp Straka here. No way. All right, Thagala, no. Driver's not good enough. Taylor Moore. Did Taylor Moore surprise you a little last week?
Tremendously, because I know you've been a huge advocate of his, and you bring him up like every week except for the last like 2 or 3 because he'd been lost. Yeah. But Taylor Moore has really been impressive all year, and he may have gotten back there. You know, I mean, there's a guy. We talk about this all the time. You talk about the progression of the player, right? Mm-hmm. There's a guy who he won this year. He gets in the top 30. Then next year he's in every major. He's in these designated events. Next thing you know, he starts to believe in himself a little bit more. Maybe he wins a designated event. I mean, he was close this past week.
He was,
and he hadn't shown much form. So at the end of the day, I mean, I think he's definitely somebody that I don't think he's going to win this week, but I think he's definitely in the future going to be part of a lot of our conversations. Let's just put it that way.
I do too. He looks the part, right? Like to me, Cam Davis, Taylor Moore, those two guys down this board are the guys for me that look the part. I talk a lot about Taylor Moore, and he's a wonderful putter. Taylor Moore's a great putter. He doesn't get enough credit with the flat stick. I think his short game is solid. I think where Taylor Moore in the offseason just needs to become a little bit better ball striker for him to then elevate to that next level. A little better off the tee, which he can be very good off the tee, and then he can be a little bit off the tee. And then I think more than that, just irons. Like, can he elevate himself in the approach game and get to that next level with the approach game? And I think if he can make that a little more of his strength. Taylor Moore is going to be a factor because the dude can putt, good athlete. I like him. I really do. I hope this offseason that guy gets it. I think Taylor Moore will keep it going this thing. I don't think he'll win, but I think Taylor Moore will continue.
Good placement.
Yeah, I do. I think I'd go top 20. All right, let's give him a top 20.
Well, it's half the field. So, you know, there is no other field there, you know, there's no placements over that. So
top 50. I'll give him a top 50. Anybody else down there that you're Lee Hodges? He's been playing some good golf. Harris English, we know, he's a guy that he knows how to win. I mean, Eric Cole has to be one of the biggest surprises of the year, doesn't he? 125-1 down there in the top 50. I mean, he's got to be the biggest surprise, doesn't he? Eric Cole in the top 50. The fact that he is here is a great story.
I mean, I love the story where was he at Travelers, and he played well there. Then he stops in Pittsburgh. He wins a mini tour event. He takes the whole check. He donates it to charity there in the area, and then he drives from there to the next event. I mean,
love it.
Who is this guy?
I know.
It's like he's a great story.
He won't respond to my DMs though to come on the pod. That's the only thing I don't like about him.
Oh,
So I don't
Well,
know. It is what it is. Anybody down there you like?
Okay.
Anybody at all?
No. This is. I mean,
No.
come on. I mean, well, here's the problem. All right,
All
when we get to this time of year, this is why, folks, we end up having a little bit of Ryder Cup talk and everything else. It's a limited field event, right? The best players that we are favoring are playing their best. We are literally down to, who can handle Ryder Cup pressure.
Yeah.
And then, who could put this thing away this week. And when it comes down to it, if we start having conversations about guys like, Spieth versus Fleetwood or Homa versus Hideki, where are we going? Well, we're going to go with the guys that tend to win more. They all have a very similar skill set for this place. I mean, Homa's not the only one that fades it off the tee. Scotty will do that. Rahm will do that.
Yep.
I mean, they all do at the top. They all hit that power fade, right? So they're all going to love this place, and it's going to be a good test. It's going to be a really good test.
All right, we'll finish this week with sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Sorry.
No.
It's I think really good test. I totally agree. I wish I was there because Chicago's a great city. I can only imagine what this place looks like in person. And so I'm excited. I'm more excited this week than I was last. I'm not too keen. I get it. FedEx is in Memphis, and I do like TP Southwind a lot. I don't know. I mean, it just doesn't feel big, week one of the playoffs. Let's go to New York. I'm sorry.
How are we not in New York?
I know. Let's go somewhere big, guys. Chicago week 2. I think this is going to really check the boxes. All right. So good show. And I'm going to leave you with another little, here you go. Another little Chicago band. There you go.
You can't fight the Seether.
Keith Stewart at Read the Line. This will be your 10th win.
Oh,
I
yeah.
can feel it. 10th
it's
win
coming.
of the year.
It's coming. Mad Max, baby. Let's do it.
All right, guys. Stripe Show Pod. Back tomorrow.